Hello and welcome to another episode of the Dgmg podcast. My name is Zoe Lulinski, and today we have a special guest, Sean Duffy. This is crazy, okay? He's from Wisconsin, but he is a Jaguars fan. This episode is gonna be a deep dive into the Jaguars, and then just postseason thoughts. I thought this would be a great way to kick off the offseason with my first episode after the Super Bowl. Or, I guess I did have one kind of during the Super Bowl, but kicking off my off-season of recording podcast episodes, I have Sean Duffy. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Sean, as Zoe mentioned, the only Jaguars fan in Wisconsin. I'm a football fan, know a little bit about football, a little bit less about everything else. Got my own radio show at Wisconsin.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I think that about sums it up.
Yeah, I'm excited to guest on that tomorrow, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited to just have you on because in my opinion, the Jaguars are one of the more exciting teams after this season just because Liam Cohen was great. I actually think if it weren't for the fact that the Patriots went to the Super Bowl, I would have picked him as Coach of the Year. I think they had the least expectations out of what you could say the Bears and the Niners, Seahawks, Patriots. They definitely had the least expectations and did great. They were 14-3. Trevor Lawrence looked to be progressing super well for the first time since you drafted him. And I'm really excited to see what your thoughts are on the season, just to start.
Yeah, you said it best. There were some pretty low expectations. Trevor was looking like a bust. Originally, I was very mad at you because the Bears took Ben Johnson. Granted,
Right.
I wasn't mad about Liam Cohen as much. I knew he was the second best candidate, so I wasn't too mad about that. But yeah, they took a step in the right direction. I don't want to say step in the right direction when they went 14-3, but
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say if it weren't for Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen would have been like the top option. I mean, if you don't include Mike Vrabel, Liam Cohen was an offensive-minded coach who had success in Tampa Bay. Honestly, since he left last season, they took a huge step back. Tampa Bay did without him. I don't know how much you want to say Baker Mayfield took a step back because he played great for the first half. But Liam Cohen, I think, was a super underrated head coach that everyone was really making fun of as well, which I think is not. I mean, I think he is a great option. Obviously, he showed it. He changed the atmosphere for the Jaguars. You know, that Duval entrance was really
that
exciting.
was that was that was not
But
exciting.
how did you feel after that? I want to know.
I thought it was if you weren't with us when we were 3-14, don't be with us when we're 4-13.
I know I'm already seeing so many bandwagon fans for the Bears even as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Bears went into hiding, you know?
Right.
It was the same thing year after year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about where they're at.
Oh, no,
But
no doubt
I
as
talk
well.
about them enough, though, honestly.
True.
We need to talk about another division, another team. Yeah, I mean, honestly, with Trevor Lawrence, he's heading in. What year is he in now?
I think
Was it
it's
his fourth?
fourth or
Fifth?
fifth.
Oh, yeah, he's the year before Justin Fields.
Was it
This is how
2020?
I keep track of the Bears quarterbacks in my mind. I think he was in his fifth year, and he looked really good, especially with the weapons. How do you feel about Brian Thomas? I mean, everyone was super excited for him coming into this season, and he took a major step back and dropping passes, just not executing properly.
Yeah, I would be very concerned. But the Jags went 14-3 with little to no production out of their projected top two receivers. Brian Thomas was, to put it very, very lightly, very, very bad. Travis Hunter got hurt after however many games, right? And, you had to trade for Jacoby Myers, which turned out to be a huge improvement on their receiving core.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
for sure.
Dgmg Brown, who they signed in free agency, was
Who's
terrible.
also about to be, yeah, he's about to be a free agent as well, so I
Rightfully
don't think he'll be
so.
missed.
Um, but yeah, with little to no production out of their projected top three receivers, now that I talk about Dgmg Brown, they found a way to make it work. A lot of their load went to Parker Washington, which I was glad to see. I knew he was going to be good. I knew he was going to be a gem from Penn State. I don't want to say that, after the fact. I don't know. I didn't know ball back then, so it was really just a blind guess too, which is the best part. But yeah, a lot of workload went to Parker Washington. A lot of workload went to Brenton Strange. The other two tight ends, for some reason, whether that be Hunter Long or the other name I'm forgetting, Johnny Munt.
They weren't too bad.
No, they were
They
both.
stepped up.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm not mad about that at all. I was a little mad because I owned Brenton Strange in fantasy.
Of course.
But
No,
other than that,
want to know who I had in fantasy football? And I drafted him way late. I thought it was going to be a steal. I had Brian Thomas.
what round did you draft him?
I mean, he was
He
honestly, in
was
my opinion,
projected top
he was
10,
projected to be way
2000.
too high. He was going to be what, like a second or third round pick.
Yeah.
I did not think that was a good spot for him, but in many leagues that I was in, he did fall, and in one of them, I was like, you know what? At this point, it's got to be
Might
a
as well.
steal, right? No, no, it was not a steal. I should have listened to my gut. I think I got him in like what, the sixth round? I
I
don't
mean, I would have
remember,
done the same thing, so I'm not even
but
faulting
it
you for
honestly
that.
ruined my team because I was kind of relying on him to just be good. Like, oh my God, it was awful.
No, it could have been worse. My roommate, he drafted Brian Thomas in the second, and somebody offered him Brian Thomas for JSN straight up before
Oh
the
my
season
God.
started, immediately after the draft. And in theory, it's like, well, duh. I drafted
Also,
Brian Thomas
leading
like 20 picks
I don't
ahead.
know why you wouldn't do that. I mean,
Exactly.
JSN even before the season was expected to be a top receiver this year in fantasy for sure.
Yeah, I
I
see
mean,
that. But
hey,
there's like that's why he fell was there was speculation about it where Brian Thomas had technically already proven himself, whereas they both
true,
just kind of
except I gotta tell you, with the people I'm around, by the way, again, d- interned at RotoWire over the summer, and I witnessed many professional drafts for fantasy football, and I'd say JSN was drafted in the first or second round in almost every single one of them. And I mean, that tells me I gotta trust the professionals, man, the people that do this for their
for their life.
man.
Yeah.
I was kind of doubting it first.
No, yeah. I
Yeah.
took JSN in one of my leagues and then I ended up winning that league.
I know one of my friends in one of my leagues took Roma Dunze super late, and he obviously was super good, especially at the beginning of the season. I took Josh Allen in the second round in one of my leagues,
Yeah, that'll do it.
and I had Malik Neighbors in the first. So, long story short, I was really bad in that league. I had nothing.
Yeah,
But
that'll happen.
yeah, I mean, I honestly this whole season thought that the Jaguars would kind of take a step off. I thought they'd do what the Colts did, honestly. I'm surprised that the Colts even did so well at the beginning
Yeah.
of the season with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones stepped up. Sauce Gardner, I feel bad for though. I mean, Sauce
Dude,
Gardner went from
how
the
did he
Jets, and then oh, I'm going to a team that's
Yeah.
nearly undefeated, and then they lose almost every game after that.
Yeah. That is I love that stat where it's like the worst team in football was the Raiders who went 3-14 except for Sauce Gardner who went 2-15.
It's really bad.
You don't deserve
I'm
that.
sorry for that. For him, man. And then he got hurt too, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kept thinking the Jaguars would kind of take a foot off the pedal, especially with Trevor Lawrence. I was honestly really surprised by him this year. This year is obviously his make it or break it year. If he didn't have a good year, I think you guys might be moving on to a different quarterback or trying to transitioning at
Yeah,
least.
there's a lot of money invested because they signed him with that huge extension. Like if you said like as you said if he didn't get that step in the right direction, he would be about the same as Tua right now.
I mean, because think about it too. He was thought of as that generational type of player, which, by the way, is such a loose term for players nowadays. I mean, a generational player is supposed to be like one player every decade at the earliest.
Yeah.
And you say it every single draft class, I think there's at least one generational player. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean looking at your guys' free agency. Oh, actually before the free agency list, I want to talk about how excited you were about that first playoff game. I mean, you guys played super well actually. You guys gave the Bills a run for their money, especially being able to play at home against them, having a home game in Jacksonville. I got to know your feelings on that end especially.
I was very good for the first 58 minutes of that game. I was living life. And then Trevor Lawrence turned into vintage Trevor Lawrence. And on the first play of a game winning drive, threw a pick right to Cole Bishop.
And you want to
And
know what's
I
so funny about that? Is
what?
that my experience as a Bears fan is exact opposite of yours.
Every single game Caleb Williams would just run behind the line of scrimmage,
Like
three rolls
actually
out to the left.
insane. I don't I bring this up too much, but that throw against the Rams, if they won that game, if the Bears won that game, that would be up there with best throw of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And he has one of those throws in every single game, almost every single game this season. It's
Yeah.
insane. I gotta know how you're feeling about Travis Etienne. He's gonna be a free agent. It doesn't sound like you guys are gonna be bringing him back.
Yeah.
He has a lot of chemistry with Trevor Lawrence as well. They went to college together, so I want to know what you think.
Yeah, he went to college with Trevor Lawrence. As much chemistry as I want to say they have, I think it's like it's a training camp thing.
Presumed chemistry
Yeah, I mean
is a
a
better way to put
quarterback
it.
to a running back, I don't think that really matters in the long term. Don't get me wrong, chemistry is chemistry, but what's that going to be like? You don't really see your running back going out on an option route, you know. I think the only case where that's a thing is like the chemistry between Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey, right? Where Christian McCaffrey is just another receiver, except he's in the backfield most of the time. What I do
Yeah.
think, and I knew this was set in
Um.
stone,
Yeah. Sorry, you can go.
they re-signed DJ Dallas, and I was like, goodbye ETN, which sucked. But they don't have a lot of money right now. They spent a lot in free agency last year.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what place are they in right now?
In terms of like cap space,
Yeah.
I think they're bottom 10. So I don't know. I think their big move was re-signing Jacoby Myers. So
Yeah. I
I
mean,
think that was the big deal, and I'm
I
okay with that. He's a proven weapon.
right. I want to know how you feel about the Jaguars' future because I was checking out an article related to best futures possible for NFL. I think funny thing is, they listed the Chiefs, I'm pretty sure, which I don't know if they'd have the best future right now, but they listed Bears, Rams, Seahawks are the first ones that come to mind when I think about it. Do you have any opinions on that? I want to know what you think for the future, especially, I mean, a lot of teams can end up being one-hit wonders, if you want to call it that, with seasons, one season wonders. 14-3 is certainly not, I mean, you would hope is not a fluke. But how do you think you're set up for the future with the Jaguars? How do you think the Jaguars are set up?
If this team doesn't regress, they're in a very good spot. A lot of their key players are signed to extensions. You know, Trevor Lawrence has got a couple more years on his. With ETN gone, Bashal Tootin just finished his
Right.
rookie season. Running back two, LaQuint Allen finished his rookie season. Offensive line, I think Ezra Cleveland's got another year. They drafted two key pieces in last year's draft, so they should be good there. Receivers are good too. A lot of the young players. The thing I'm really scared about is letting Devin Lloyd go. I would love to retain Devin Lloyd, but you can't have um, two really good linebackers because you're going to have to pay them both, and
Right.
that's like what 15 to 20 mil a year.
And
You see that?
especially with a franchise tag window opening this week, and it doesn't look like you guys really made any moves. No team's really made many moves so far. Obviously, they have time still, but
Yeah,
definitely interesting to see.
I think he's going to make a lot of money. You saw it with the Ravens and Patrick Queen, you know. But yeah, he was a first round pick, so Jaguars will get a good compensatory pick, which I'm not mad about in the slightest.
Well,
So
you know what I'm annoyed about with those picks?
what's up?
The Bears aren't getting any comp picks for Ian Cunningham leaving, our assistant GM. He went to the Falcons to be a GM.
Yep.
And by the way, if no one is caught up with this, Matt Ryan was signed with them. I forget what exact position his title he
Yeah,
signed
some
to,
sort of
but he
I know.
has said multiple times he doesn't have the final say. He's not in charge of decision making, which is the exact definition of the Bears should be getting 2 third-round picks. Apparently they don't. Apparently the Bears don't get 2 third-round picks, which is really unfortunate. I don't think there's a way to overturn that either, which is unfortunate. I'm a little annoyed about it. 2 third-round picks is valuable. I mean, you
Dude,
can
that's a
get a lot from
lot.
that.
That's
Especially,
a
I'm pretty sure this
lot.
draft class is pretty deep in the exact positions the Bears need, which is defensive line.
Yeah, very.
Like, I'm pretty sure, I don't know who it was. A couple of NFL analysts, I'm pretty sure, listed 10 defensive linemen, 10 defensive tackles in the top 50 prospects.
Hmm.
Like, that's insane. That's exactly what the Bears need.
Yeah, there's a lot of linebackers as well. Who is the first one? He's blanking on my name right now.
I'm honestly blanking on.
Other than like Arvell Reese and like oh,
And mind
Scott.
you, with that too, with linebackers, Tremaine Edmonds, I think, is definitely an option for getting cut for the Bears just for cap space reasons. They're pretty low on cap space as well. They're in the negatives right now. Obviously, they're going to restructure some contracts of a couple players for sure. But yeah, lots to change on the defensive side there for honestly both teams, Bears and Jaguars. Let's talk about free agents because we are about a month out from free agency hitting in the offseason. And Trey Hendrickson, according to ESPN, is listed as the number one free agent. If you were to tell me that he's the number one free agent, what, 2 years ago, I'd agree with you. I mean, last full season he played, he had 17 and a half sacks. But he didn't play a single game last year or this past season. Coming off a hip injury with surgery, and he's in his 30s. I mean, if anything, I think you can sign him to a shorter contract, but there's a lot of question marks that come with him for any team that signs him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't disagree, especially hip surgery in your 30s, right? That's never fun to think about. I think he's going to enter more of a Hassan Reddick type of contract, right, or anywhere between Hassan Reddick and Chase Young. Because Chase Young got a bag from the Saints.
And by the way, yeah, both those guys do have a big impact still as well. Especially if you compare Trey Hendrickson with a player on the other side. I don't think without seeing him being the sole option, I don't know how he would fare with that coming back after not playing for a season and being a bit older off an injury. I think he'd need some help on the defensive line.
Yeah, regardless. I do like him with the Bears, as long as the Bears don't overpay him.
Right. I could definitely see the Bears being desperate a little bit there, too. I think Ryan Poles has tended to overpay some guys for sure. Tremaine Edmonds, I think, is one of them. I think, is number one in terms of how much he's being paid at his position. Tremaine Edmonds is. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you know that.
He's up there for sure.
He's up there, and he's great. He's great in coverage. I mean, he was top 5 in interceptions to end the season, which is amazing. He's super fast. He's a speedy guy, but
he doesn't warrant that kind of money, you know.
There's a lot of guys that I think are going to get franchise tagged. I think Breece Hall might not leave the Jets. I don't think Jalen Phillips will leave the Eagles. I don't think Daniel Jones will leave the Colts. George Pickens is obviously not going to leave the Cowboys, which leaves 5 of the top 10 free agents out of it already.
There's 2 off the top of my head in terms of fits. Tyler Linderbaum, if he doesn't stay with the Ravens, he's going to the Giants. And
I can definitely see that for sure.
Very, very confident in that.
Giants are building up some momentum here too. Getting Harbaugh as the coach, and then I love the trio of Scadaboo, Dart, and Neighbors, which we didn't even get to see because Neighbors got hurt towards the beginning of the season.
And Scat got hurt shortly after.
Exactly. And Dart got hurt as well. I mean, they all got hurt, so if they can stay healthy, I think that'd be a really exciting team to watch. And I think they could, they beat the Eagles. They have potential. They definitely have potential. They lost a lot of one-score games last season as well. They competed with a lot of teams. If I would bet on it, I could see the Giants obviously having a better season than Washington. I think Washington is kind of in an adjustment phase, which is unfortunate because they just had that good season 2 seasons ago. But they were the oldest team at the time when they were good. They just lost Cliff Kingsbury. I think they're going through an adjustment period.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see calling it now the Giants placing second even in the division. I think they could very well compete for that second spot with the Cowboys, in my opinion.
I'll go a little bit farther, and I'll say they win their division.
Right. Honestly, I think that's a huge question mark. A lot of people are still very high on the Eagles, but they're a mess right now. I mean, that whole offense, everyone's hating on Jalen Hurts. Everyone's hating on A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's a question mark. Their offensive coordinator's a question mark, which they might have signed someone, but either way,
I do. Yeah, they signed Sean Mannion, the former Packers offensive or their QB's coach.
That's what it is. I don't know. I guess you can't judge that until they play, but from the history of losing so many offensive coordinators, Kevin Patullo did not do great on that offense as well. They struggled last season, and how do they struggle? They have Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, and I don't care what you say, Jalen Hurts is a fine quarterback. I mean, he took them to a Super Bowl and won. Okay, like he's fine. He can carry his own weight on the Eagles. I don't think he's the problem.
I think their offensive line regressed, which didn't help whatsoever. AJ Brown had his own issues. Saquon wasn't the same running back he was on their Super Bowl run, and Kevin Patullo is apparently an agent of the state for whatever reason.
I mean,
But I think,
they're gonna lose a bunch of guys on defense this off season too. I think.
yeah, like Jalen Phillips, right? But I think most importantly, the Eagles are going to take a huge step back. They lost their offensive line coach. They lost Jeff Stoutland. And I think a lot of Eagles fans took that for granted. And there's going to be a lot more slander towards Jalen Hurts in the coming season because he's not going to have as much time to throw as he used to. Granted, he's still throwing 5 interception games when he had that very good offensive line, even when they're underperforming.
Yeah, guess who else had high interception games? The Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yep.
Sam Darnold.
Zero turnovers in the postseason. But
yeah, that's really impressive. That is the sole reason why they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jalen Phillips is actually going to stay. I think they're going to do a lot in their power to keep him on the Eagles, and I think he wants to be on the Eagles. Honestly, I do. I think he wants to stay there. Nakobe Dean, I think, is a player. He's a free agent. I'm pretty sure, right?
I think so.
I don't know. I don't think they can keep both of them. I think they'd have to decide between Nakobe Dean or
because Nakobe Dean's going to cost a lot, and a franchise tag for linebackers is way
right.
out
I think
of
Jalen Phillips will be a slightly cheaper option, and he did really well for them in the time that he played. Yeah, so I do think the Eagles are definitely overrated. That division could definitely be up for grabs. I don't think. Yeah.
My betting odds is that it's going to the Giants. They did a lot on the defensive side of the ball last offseason.
They gotta fix that secondary though. That's a big issue.
And it looked good last offseason. They had Paulson Adebo. They added.
Yeah.
There was another safety whose name I'm blanking on.
They did have injuries. They had injuries for sure.
A lot of injuries, and they're going to add hopefully, not a Giants fan, but hopefully Caleb Downs. I think that'd be a fantastic fit.
That'd be solid.
Going into that hardball scheme, don't get me salivating.
Right. Yeah. That division's definitely up for grabs. By the way, though, the NFC West is an insane division with the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers, and unfortunately for the Cardinals, they are in that division. Yeah. NFC North has to also play, I think, all 4 of those teams next season, if I'm wrong. That's like the worst division to have to play all 4 teams in, because all 3 of those teams, I think, could have been number 1 seed if they just won one more game.
Especially those head-to-heads. Niners, after all those injuries, were still miraculously in contention for that 1 seed. Came down.
You know what? That's why Kyle Shanahan was in conversation for Coach of the Year.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think they're gonna struggle without Robert Saleh, though.
I agree.
With him going to the Titans.
I don't remember who they hired for their DC position, but
I mean,
they got a lot of talent. So
the fact that they were able to be that good on defense, they were dominant on defense still without Fred Warner or Nick Bosa for a majority of the season, especially in the offseason. They beat the Eagles in the offseason. Robert Saleh has to get credit for that, especially because before he left for the Jets job, they were also super good, and the second he comes back, they're good again.
Yeah.
Robert Saleh gets too much hate for being the Jets head coach as well.
It's the Jets. You can't blame him.
Mike LaFleur, I mean, he was offensive coordinator there. He got a head coach job with the Cardinals, which you look more into it. He only has had success on the Rams and 49ers, and it's when he's not a play caller. So I'm curious to see how he does. I've mentioned this in a previous podcast as well, but I'm curious to see how he does because, truthfully, he hasn't. I mean, don't get me wrong, he had Zach Wilson and Mike White as quarterbacks in New York when he was play calling for them, but that's the only proven time he's ever called plays himself.
Yeah. That goes to they hired it was the former head coach of the Giants, Daboll. They hired Daboll. And they also hired a bunch of other bald guys, which I think is a funny coincidence that they have the baldest
that is really funny
coaching staff of all time. But yeah, Daboll's doing a good job of developing quarterbacks. He developed Josh Allen when he was with the Bills.
Yeah.
I think that was a very good hire for the Titans and for Saleh. I do think the Titans are going to be as much as it pains me to say it. I do think the Titans are going to be a little bit competitive in the coming years.
I wouldn't say next year though. You got one more year at
Yeah,
least.
Cam Ward needs a better offensive line. They've been investing in the offensive line, but there's still definitely some holes there.
I mean, the main team you got to worry about for in that division is still the Texans. And
Yeah,
I think if CJ Stroud plays like he did his rookie year, that's a very dangerous team because they have arguably the best defense in the league. I mean, that
yeah.
pass rush is insane.
Their pass rush is
And then they
terrifying.
got Derek Stingley at cornerback. They have a really good secondary as well. It's scary.
Yeah, the Texans have hit on a lot of defensive pieces in the draft. Like you said, they got Will Anderson, who is getting votes for Defensive Player of the Year. Their secondary is absolutely terrifying. I don't know how Trevor even won one game against them. And even being mediocre at like defensive tackle and linebacker, they're still outperforming anyone, really. I can't even name two of their defensive tackles. And like they're scoring touchdowns on defense. It's
I
insane.
mean, simply looking at the Texans with CJ Stroud in that playoff game, the fact that they still beat the Steelers with how poorly CJ Stroud played and the turnovers and points he was giving up, that says something about a defense, and that's the type of defense I miss watching with the Bears. I think anything with the defense in general, you need a good front seven to be a scary defense. I mean, you see it with the Bears even. They were one of the better teams with turnovers and they weren't a scary defense because they really weren't getting much pressure on the quarterback
It
at
was
all.
it was Montez Sweat and the power of friendship, right?
Right. Yeah, Montez Sweat apparently got quite a few sacks. I think he like statistically had a pretty solid year, but if you watch them game by game, it really doesn't look like he's and mind you, they had some bad luck. Dio got hurt, their rookie defensive lineman got hurt. So they had some bad luck on the defensive line for sure, but I mean most teams actually this past year for injuries was not a good one.
Yeah. But I think there wasn't a lot of like coverage sack. Well, actually, excuse me, there was a lot of coverage sacks, which worked out to the benefit of their defensive line for the Bears. You've got Jalen Johnson, arguably a top five corner in the league. I don't even want to say arguably, just a top five corner in the league. Nashawn Wright came into his own. Tremaine
Yeah,
Edmonds
the
was like a
problem is
heat
Jalen
seeking
Johnson
missile.
was out for most of the year. The Bears just in general, I mean, Kyler Gordon is a game changer. I think when he was in, especially at the end of the season, they played way better on defense. But Jalen Johnson, I don't think ever played 100%. I think he said it himself. He was out for most of the season and then struggled even when he came back just because I think he was forcing himself a little bit for the playoffs there.
My question for you is, how do you feel about Jaquan Brisker?
Honestly, it sounds like polls might be leaning to Kevin Byard. And don't get me wrong, Kevin Byard had an amazing season, but he's also in his 30s. He's getting up there in age for an NFL player. And Jaquan Brisker is still young. He had a fully healthy season this past season. And, I mean, in that final game against the Rams, he was clearly the best player on the field. Very clearly the best player on the field. I honestly love the way he talks on social media as well. He sticks up for his team. He likes it, and I think it's good to have those types of players on the
Those
team.
locker room players, yeah.
Right, they're locker room players. Other teams hate them, but your team loves them. I don't know if I would go the route of signing Kevin Byard over Brisker just because I don't know how much longer he can play. He had a great season, but it's hard to let Jaquan Brisker go. A player of his caliber, when he is healthy, is one of the better safeties in the league.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I do like Kevin Byard. I like Jaquan Brisker as well. I get why Ryan Poles is sticking to Kevin Byard. There's a significant production gap, right? I don't know. I wasn't watching a lot of Bears games, but Kevin Byard wasn't hurt, right?
No, no, no. He led the league in interceptions this past season, actually. He Pro Bowl selection, which, I mean, good for him. Back end of his career, and he's having one of the best seasons of his career. But he's also going to be expensive. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love both of them. They're both going to be super expensive, so which is the reason why I have to choose between one of them.
And this is why I'm leaning Kevin Byard because as much production as he had, one, he stayed healthy, and two, even if his production's up here and it takes a drop off, it's still going to be, I would say, a decent bit above average compared to other safeties. And then you can look at like the second or third round of the draft where there's some good safeties like
Very deep on the defensive side of the ball, for sure.
you got the kid out of Toledo, McNeil Warren, Kyle Lewis. I think his name's Kyle. out of Pitt, second or third round, real good safety. So yeah, definitely a chance to start and learn from a veteran like Kevin Byard, which I think will be key in their development.
Right, right. And I mean, that just about does it. I feel like we pretty widely talked about the Jaguars and free agency here. Thank you for coming on again. It's always fun to talk to you about the Jaguars because you're the only Jaguars fan I know. And I mean, I love to hear opinions on new teams. Thank you so much for coming on. I hope to have you on again soon. I'm excited to talk on your radio show tomorrow. Don't get me going.